everyone, a very warm welcome to this special telecast on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Frank Razum Pereira. Italy has been one of the countries worst hit by the novel coronavirus. Over 31,000 deaths and over 2 lakh cases have been reported in the country so far. Slowly but cautiously, life is returning to the way it was before the pandemic. The scars of the devastation, though, will take a long time to heal. Analyzing data on COVID-19 cases in Italy, researchers have suggested measures that other governments across the world can take to contain transmission of the deadly virus. To talk about the lessons learned from the pandemic and the way forward, I have with me on the program a very special guest today, Mr. Vincenzo de Luca, the Ambassador of Italy to India. Ambassador, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
So, firstly, our condolences and also our hearts and, prayers are with the people of Italy in this difficult time. You've been through a very difficult torment last couple of months. Tell us something about the challenges really as far as what Italy faced during the pandemic.
Yes, thank you. As you know, as you said, Italy has been the first country severely hit by coronavirus in Europe, after China, of course. And the Italian government adopted severe and restricted measures to fight against the spread of the infection. Physical distances, control on the mobility, and adoption of all the health protocol defined also by the World Health Organization. This period of complete lockdown, more than 2 months in Italy, opened the way to an opportunity to reopen and resume some of our economic activities. I have also to tell you that the policy and program and measures adopted by the Italian government were followed by other European countries later. And I have also to say that there is a similar approach between the Indian government and the Italian government in the adoption of the lockdown and in the reopening of the economic activities. By the way, the same day, the 4th of May, in India started the 3rd phase and in Italy started the 2nd phase of the lockdown. And again, next Monday, there will be a further step, both in Italy and in India, precisely the same day, the same period of time. Now, what is the situation today in Italy? We have dramatically reduced the index of contagious, of infection, and this allows us to reopen further activities. The index was more than 3 points during the lockdown, at the beginning of the lockdown. Now is around 0.7 the index value. Now, of course, we have to be very careful because we have to monitor the situation, and if there is a resumption of the spread of the contagious and of the spread of the infection, we have to reintroduce severe measures. This is the lesson we learned for the first phase. We have to be very careful because the COVID-19 is still there, is still there all over the world. We have not solved the problem of coronavirus. We are still to find an appropriate vaccine against this pandemic, but we have to be very careful in each country to adopt the appropriate measure.
Right. All right, Ambassador. So, you spoke about how economic activity has begun really as far as Italy is concerned. Factories have begun opening up. Economic activity is very important at a time like this because the world is going through a tough phase economically. So, as far as some of these offices and factories are concerned, are there any measures in place now that we've seen the coronavirus that Italy is in particular following? What are some of the best practices?
The priority of the Italian government in the reopening after the 2nd phase of the lockdown has been to resume all the manufacturing chain, all the industrial production. Because as you know, Italy is the second manufacturing country in Europe, and is a similar situation as here in India, two important manufacturing platforms. So the first priority for Italy was to resume our production value chain, because our industrial chain is very much integrated in the global value chain. For example, Italy and Germany share a lot of production. We are supplier of the German industry, and German industry is well integrated in global chain. And also Italy has internationalized company all over the world, here in India, in China, in Asia, in US, in Europe. So the first problem for our country was to the resumption of the industrial production. That has been already done, because on the 4th of May, now, since the 4th of May, we have more than 8.5 million workers at workplace. And this is a very important outcome of the success of the first phase of the lockdown. Now, today, the government will have a meeting in Rome, and they will decide about the reopening of other activities like services and retail. Of course, for us it's very important also the tourist season. This year the tourists in Italy will be mainly Italian tourism, but we are also trying to partially reopen opportunity also for international, or at least European tourists. Very limited, with a strong and very severe health protocol. Now our visa section is still closed here in India and in all the other countries. You know, the Schengen countries closed the visa for the citizens outside Europe until the 15th of June. After that period, we will discuss with our Schengen partners how to proceed to progressively reopen the visa service. Italy is very important also for the food production, but food production and the medical and pharmaceutical sector has been always open, even during the lockdown. The chain has not been interrupted. So the problem was for other industrial sector, for services and for tourism. What I want to mention is a very important, let's say, change in our life and in our work. During the lockdown, we had more than 3.5 million workers in the public administration, in some service industry, that work by remote, digital devices, digital modalities. This is a very important change that maybe will have some development also after the coronavirus period. A change in the organization of the work in the office, in the public administration, in the service sector.
Since you brought this up, I read your piece in one of the Indian newspapers as well a couple of days ago. You spoke about digital embassy, so that's something that you're running, and you also spoke about how many people are working from home and all those other aspects. So as far as digital embassy is concerned, Ambassador, and digitization is concerned, do you believe that that is going to be the new norm now, and that is one of the biggest lessons that the coronavirus pandemic has taught us?
We are the first embassy here in India to launch this project of the digital embassy, and we are discussing with our Indian partners, especially with Invest India, to launch a digital economic platform. That means we go on in the work to support matchmaking between Italian companies and Indian companies, to organize digital network, to promote country presentation, opportunity of investment in India. And I think we work very well with the Indian government, the Indian partner, because India would like to become more and more a global platform for foreign investment. And we are ready to do that. Of course, in this period, since we do not have the opportunity to have a physical mission to India from Italy, we organize this kind of activity in the digital modality. And this is a very good news, because part of these modalities are easier and will be used also after the coronavirus period. This is the idea of the digital embassy. We work with all our staff at home, apart an essential staff that is here, because it has to deal with the support with companies, the repatriation of Italian stranded here in India to Italy, and other consular assistance and support to our nationals that are here in India. But this is a very innovative project, and we are discussing a very fruitful way with the Invest India and other Indian authority. We attend all the webinar organized by the Indian government, even at the level of chief minister, different states, central government, local government. We interact, I would say, even more in this period than before, because distances are closing now, and we can work daily by daily in exchange idea, proposal, project, business, and everything.
Yes, so basically you're suggesting that we have adapted to the new way of life, and this is something that we're going to do going forward as well, and we're already seeing it in our systems so far. Let me go back to a point that you were making earlier, Ambassador, about tourism, and how probably for some time that tourism in Italy is going to focus on the local tourism. But tourism in Italy is also a very, very big market. It's a big, economic driver really for Italy is concerned. Have you thought about a situation, or is there something in the works for sometime in the future when tourism opens up, how the pace of tourism will be?
I think also this year we can have some tourist activity also in Italy and also in the country more affected by coronavirus. But we have to adopt appropriate measure to save the situation in the beach, in the hotel, in the restaurant, and in the bar. We are studying very severely physical, I don't call them social distancing, but physical distancing, because social distancing we can solve the problem with the digital devices and modalities. Physical distancing is an obligation to avoid the spread of contagion, and this will be done very much in the tourist sector. Our government is studying measure to use beaches, hotel, and the bar and restaurant in a safe way. And today, in the coming weeks, we will present in Italy all the measures that are vital to have at least part of the tourist activity. Of course, we cannot have a full tourist season this year, but we are preparing for the relaunch of the tourism in Italy, because, as you know, Italy is one of the top destinations for tourists here in India, in Asia, all over the world.
So taking the discussion forward, Ambassador, let's also talk a little bit about what the situation is like at the moment in Italy, because, Italy was one of the worst affected countries really across the world, and one of those few places where the coronavirus started some time back, and now it seems like you're over the difficult phase, but you're still dealing with it very, very cautiously, because you're uncertain. It might come back, because it's like you said earlier in the interview, it's all over the world, so there's a high possibility that it can recur.
As also in India and all over the world, the priorities, first of all, is health. Health is the priority. Now we have reduced the risk of the spread of contagion, but we have to be very careful on the development of the situation. But Italy has suffered a lot, is suffering a lot, the consequences of the lockdown and the closing of many economic activities. And in fact, the government has already adopted some stimulus packages. The first one of 25 billion euro for humanitarian relief, and also guarantee to the company to have access to liquidity, government guarantee to have up to 500 billion euro of liquidity through the banking system. And now there is a second stimulus package of 55 billion to give financial support to small and medium-sized enterprises, family, and to invest more in the health sector and in education, because we have to reorganize the school to reopen after summer, and this is not an easy challenge. So this stimulus package, of course, will use also European Union resources. As you know, European Union has already adopted three important measures. One is the program SURE to help workers that have now losing their job. Second is the support for SMEs by the European Investment Bank. And the third is the program European Stability Mechanism to provide up to 240 billion euro for investment in the health sector. So we are trying to use all the available resources to help our population, our companies, our family in this very difficult period. And the situation is still very critical in Italy, in Europe, in India, all over the world. So we need further financial support from the government and from the European Union institution to help our economy.
Absolutely. You know, so Ambassador, talking about the healthcare system, talking about, you know, scientific cooperation and so on and so forth, you know, there was some information in the media recently about how the, you know, Italian scientists have developed some kind of a vaccine, or the progress as far as vaccine development is concerned has gone ahead quite rigorously and quite fast. If you could tell us something about treatment and vaccine development that is currently taking place in Italy.
Yes, Italy also has increased the resources for research and development in the health sector, with a focus, of course, on vaccine. And one of our centers, Spallanzani Institute in Rome, is one of the top 45 or 46 candidates to the vaccine in the coming months. We will see which will be the outcome of this research, and I hope in any country, we don't care if it's Italy or India or China or United States. The most important thing is the global access to the new vaccine. This is the challenge for the international community. Once we discover the vaccine, the challenge will be to give access to this vaccine to billions of people all over the world. In this framework, we are supporting the UN initiative for a global alliance, and also the Indian government is part of this alliance, to make this vaccine accessible and affordable for all the countries, for all the people. Because you cannot fight against coronavirus if the vaccine is not accessible. There is no frontier for this pandemic. So we have to face a very, very difficult challenge for all the global community.
Yes, Ambassador, and you know, talking about the scientific community, talking about the community as a whole, what kind of scientific cooperation is taking place, and why is it important to cooperate right now, you know, as far as this whole situation is concerned?
Italy and India has developed an increasing cooperation in science and technology. Italy was a special guest of the India Tech Summit, Italy-India Tech Summit 2018, that was chaired by the two Prime Ministers, Modi and Conte, here in Delhi. I was one of the organizers in Rome of the participation of hundreds of Italian research centers to this important event. We have an agreement and an executive protocol for the scientific and technology cooperation between the two countries. And we have developed a lot of events like workshops, executive programs between the research center and also the industry in the sector of sustainable development, green energy, life science, agri-food. In many sectors, we exchange experience and best practice between Italy and India. And we are organizing now a video forum in the coming weeks with all the relevant Italian centers and Indian centers. The coordination here will be provided by Gita Center, and in Italy by our embassy and by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We will involve several research centers from Italy and from India to work about the priority I mentioned before in the coming months and years.
You know, that is as far as the scientific community is concerned. But when you look at cooperation, you know, from a wider angle between the two nations, you know, what is the level of cooperation, and are there any areas that you think that, you know, that need special attention going forward, and what should the focus be?
We should work more, I think, in the interface between manufacture and digital economy, because India is one of the most advanced country in the digital economy. Italy is the second manufacturing country in Europe, and we have already launched a program called the Industry 4.0 to have a matchmaking between technology in the manufacturing and the innovation in the digital field. So this is an area we can develop more in our bilateral cooperation, as well as the green economy, because we have also important investment from Italy to India in the renewable energy, smart grid, hydrogen, and gas technology, and many other areas that are vital for make the development more sustainable in Europe and in India. We can exchange experience, practice, and technology on this field also.
And as far as bilateral ties are concerned, Ambassador, as a whole, you believe that it can do much better, but also going through these challenging times is going to be difficult, because around the world people are talking about strengthening local supply chains, producing locally, and ensuring that their dependence on other countries is reduced. Is that a problem in the long run, do you think?
Maybe in the short term there could be a tendency to reduce the value chain or to regionalize the value chain. But I think it's interest of Italy and India to maintain a global value chain, because we are two important platforms, manufacturing and digital platform. So I think in the medium and long term, and we have also always to look at medium and long term in our action, in our activity, we have several opportunities to work together with India. And you have to consider that Italy is a country historically export-led. Export in Italy is 32% of the GDP, very high percentage. Only Germany is a higher percentage than Italy in the relation between export and the GDP. So we are in a way obliged to be part of a global value chain. We have technology, we have expertise, we have know-how, we have very flexible small and medium-sized enterprise. You know that in Italy there are more than 200,000 companies, exporter companies, a lot in terms of number, in terms of diversity of our portfolio of export. Maybe we have to diversify more the regional diversification of our portfolio, because now we are more concentrated in Europe and the United States. We have expanded our internationalization in Asia, and now India is becoming one of the priority markets for the Indian companies, as well as Italy is becoming an important place for investment for Indian companies. And I think that after Brexit, Indian companies are also considering a repositioning of their presence vis-à-vis the European market. And Italy offers a very good opportunity. Don't forget that in Italy there are 180,000 Indians, the highest community in the Euro area. So there is a combination of opportunity and potential that we have to exploit more.
And my final two questions to you before I let you go, Ambassador. One is, what is the best way forward for relations between India and Italy?
India and Italy share the same vision in the reinforcement and promotion of a new global governance, of multilateralism, of reinforcement of the international organization. The international organization have to become more effective, but we do not have any alternative to multilateralism. That is the common vision between Italy and India. And the opportunity is now that Italy will chair the next G20 starting for 1st of January 2021. And India will have the the presidency of the G20 in 2022. So there is a combination of factors and events and opportunities, and we have a shared vision of a global economic and sustainable development agenda in the world.
And finally, before I let you go, Ambassador, anything that you'd like to share with the people of India?
We share friendship. We share a long-standing culture thousands of years of exchange, culture exchange between Italy and India. And today also, we are very active in exchanges, new idea in the so-called creativity, creative industry, design, fashion, and contemporary culture. So we are two countries with a long tradition and also a capacity and attitude to innovation. This is our common heritage, but also our common present. Thank you very much.
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time. It was really a pleasure having you on Rajya Sabha television. Long live the friendship between India and Italy. With that, I'd like to call it a wrap. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, that's it for me. See you again next time.